And so I rise this afternoon, Mr. President, to offer my support to the Kennedy-Hatch Serve America Act. 4.5 decades ago, Mr. President, I was with my parents on a very cold January 20th, not that many feet from where I'm standing today, watching a young man at age 43 become the President of the United States on the east front of the Capitol. And it was a bitter cold day, a clear day, but bitter cold. We had had a terrible snowstorm the day or so before, on that January 20th of 1961. And as a young, very young boy of 12 or 13 years of age, I listened to that president, excited generation of us, to get involved in things larger than ourselves. And I was so motivated by his remarks, as were millions of others, that a few years later, when I finished college, I joined the Peace Corps and went off to Latin America, the Dominican Republic, not far from the Haitian border, where I spent 2 years in the mountains of that country, working with people of the small village of Benito Monción in the province of Santiago Rodriguez. It was a life-changing experience. I came back from that experience a very different person than when I had left. And like millions of others who went off and joined VISTA, the military, community action services all across the country, the reason we did so, and I've been asked so many times over the years, why did I join the Peace Corps? Why did other people go into the Marine Corps, the Justice Department, did what they did? And the reason I've given over these last 4.5 decades was because an American president asked me. Not any more complicated than that. Someone asked me to serve. And the fact that someone thought I could do something to make a difference was a form of flattery, I suppose, but also provided the opportunity for me then to meet that challenge by creating the structures that allowed us to step into something that gave us the opportunity to serve. And that's what we're doing again here today, in a sense, providing the structure and the architecture, the ability for people who are no different than any other generation of Americans over our 2 centuries as a republic, being asked to serve and want to serve, have the same desires and ambitions to make a difference for our country, in their local communities, in our states, and on our nation. And what Senator Mikulski and Senator Kennedy have done with this bill is to create the architecture, the structure, by which when we ask people to serve, they have a place to come. We've got a spot for you. We've got a place where you can make a difference in our country. And that's what the brilliance of this idea is. And the brilliance of it reaches down not to the point where you have to be a college graduate or out of graduate school. We actually begin in this bill by offering you the opportunity to serve as an elementary school student, a high school student, someone who does want to go on to higher education. And maybe most excitingly of all, we offer that opportunity for people who maybe have the most to give, and that is retirees in our country. Those who have been at work, providing for their families, engaged in whatever businesses or practices they've developed their wisdom and expertise on over the years, have now reached that point in their lives when they'd like to share that. And what a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for our country to reach that generation of retirees and say, here's an opportunity for you to continue to make a difference. After I finished the Peace Corps, I came back. I served for 6 years in the Army Reserves and National Guard. That was a good experience. Very different, obviously, to go off into basic training at Fort Dix, New Jersey, but nonetheless a very worthwhile experience. So service covers a wide range of activities. In my case, it was the Peace Corps, and then it was the Army Reserves, then it was Big Brothers, Big Sisters. I was a big brother in my state of Connecticut. And so service has been a major part of my life. I'd like to think today that to the extent I do anything at all in this job, it was affected certainly by my family, first and foremost, but also by the people whose names will never be known by others, who had a huge influence on me. People in that small village in the Dominican Republic, people in my community of Connecticut, people I met in the military service, all helped shape me and taught me the lessons of how serving each other, making a difference in each other's lives, can make a significant difference for many, many more. In Connecticut, community members, both young and old, are giving their time. Hamden, Connecticut, Mr. President. Older Americans like Moselle Van, retired social worker. She's working to ensure that elementary school students don't fall through the cracks. One example, one woman making a difference, affecting the lives of maybe not dozens of people, but a handful. A handful of students that are going to be enriched and lead better lives because Moselle Van is given the opportunity to give something back. High school students in Waterbury, Connecticut, giving back to their communities, taking part of the Youth Health Service Corps. That was a program created by the Connecticut Area Health Education Center. The organization works with disadvantaged high school students interested in pursuing health careers. And Lord knows we need people to move into that area of endeavor and health-related functions. These students complete rigorous training and dedicate their time to working with nursing home residences, high school students, worrying about what their future will be, being channeled and offered the opportunity to learn about health care services, and today making a difference in a nursing home that is already short-handed, probably in serving the people in that community. Residents in the past year worked with students to create the Martin Luther King Jr. commemorative quilt, and together to discuss Dr. King's impact on our nation. Well, Mr. President, there are as many examples as there are communities and individuals we represent.